everybody, welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about how to express amounts. In this lesson, I'm going to review countable and uncountable nouns, and I'm going to talk about some expressions you can use to describe how much or how many of something you have or you want or you need. So we have a lot of good stuff, I think, that is good for beginners to review in this lesson. But I'm also going to cover some topics that are more intermediate or advanced. Some small points, some small kind of nuances that you can think about for your word choice. So I hope there's something for everyone in today's lesson. All right, I see many people in the YouTube chat. Hi, Leah. Hey, Leah. Sick Eraser, good morning. Miguel, hello. And Snow Girl, a few people are there. I think it's loading. Bori, hey, on Facebook. Okay, as everybody joins, please don't forget to like and share the video so other people can find today's lesson. While we wait, first, this free PDF cheat sheet, as always, we have free stuff for you from the link below the video if you're watching on Facebook, or above the video if you're watching above the video on Facebook, below the video on YouTube. Wow, I can't believe I messed that up. How many years have I been doing this? This is just a quick look at some of the free topics that you can find. This is all available for you to download. You just need an account at EnglishClass101.com. So check this out. Oops, that's the back side of one. This one I show a lot. This is the business English one. I'll show you some more later. But check these out. You can find these all from the link above or below the video. That's announcement number 1. Announcement number 2, it's about Ask Alicia, our weekly Q&A series. Please send me your questions. So every week we release a question and answer video where you have the chance to send me your questions about grammar, vocabulary, culture, whatever. And I will maybe choose your question to talk a little bit about on YouTube or Facebook as well. So if you want to send a question to me, please send them at EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. Alrighty, I see many people in the chats now. Hello on YouTube, Anderson, Rama, Nazmul, hello from Bangladesh, cool. Kanwaljit, hello, Rivero, Christopher, Oni, hello, Alexander, hello. And on Facebook, many people, Hama, Rubens, Kishore, Ikram, Miat, hello, Sabir, awesome, many people, fantastic. So, as you join, say hi, like, share, all that jazz. We're going to talk about amounts today, amounts. So, during today's lesson, please send me your example sentences. Send them in the chat, and I will try to check them live, but just to practice today's topics. So I'm going to share the video, and then I'm going to begin. Today I'm going to start by talking about countable and uncountable nouns, a little grammar review to begin today. And then I'm going to talk about some expressions you can use to describe large and small amounts. So, all right, video shared. Let us begin. Let's start over here. First, countable and uncountable nouns. This is a key point for today's lesson, so I'm going to slow down the speed at which I am speaking. So let's begin with countable nouns. What is a countable noun? We can break this word down. Count and able. Count and able plus noun means a noun that we are able to count. A noun that we can count, in other words. So that means nouns we can count with 1, 2, 3, etc. This etc. means etc. and so on and other things. So a noun, remember, a noun is a person, place, or a thing, yeah? So nouns we can count with 1, 2, and 3 when we make the plural form, meaning more than one. One is singular, more than one is the plural form. When we make the plural form of a countable noun, we have one basic way. In speech, we add an S sound, so like book becomes books. We have that S sound. But when we're spelling, in writing, we have a couple of different endings for countable nouns. These change depending on the spelling, the ending of the original noun. So I'm not going to talk about the spelling rule here today, but just keep in mind that there are different ways to spell the plural forms of these. So we add either S or ES or IES. IES if the original noun ends in Y, as it does here. So basically, a countable noun takes an S sound to get the plural form. So book becomes books, kiss becomes kisses, candy becomes candies, and so on. So we add an S to make a countable noun plural. So to describe more than one of a countable noun. So a couple points then. There are irregular countable nouns. So irregular means not regular. Ir is a prefix which means not or no. So regular means like normal or typical. So not regular. Irregular, these are a few examples of irregular countable nouns, which means they do not follow this S rule. For example, one child, two children. So child becomes children in the plural form. 3 children, 4 children. One person, 2 people. In these cases, and with a few animals, there's no change between the countable, or the singular and the plural form. So like sheep becomes sheep, like 1 sheep, 2 sheep. Mouse becomes mice as well. So there are a few things, there are a few nouns that have like these kind of strange plural forms. Please keep this in mind. For today, I'm going to focus mostly on just these regular countable nouns that take an S. If you have any questions, I will try to check in real time. You can ask questions. Thanks, Leah. Yes. Okay, let's continue then. So this is countable nouns. For today's lesson, everything at the top of the board refers to countable nouns. I've split today's whiteboard into 2 parts. So upper part, the top, is countable nouns. The bottom then, on the other hand, let's talk about the second part here, uncountable nouns. So we talked about countable, we broke down countable, so things we can count, nouns we can count. Here, uncountable. So the prefix un means like not. Again, it's a negative thing. So not countable nouns. Nouns we cannot count with 1, 2, 3, etc. So when we want to count these nouns, when we want to talk about units, we use counter words. So for example, these are some very common uncountable nouns. So money, time, water, air. So we don't say like 1 money, 2 money, 3 money. We use what's called a counter word. So for example, with money, in like US dollars, a dollar is countable. Cents is countable. $1, $2. We use smaller units inside that category, inside that noun, to talk about the smaller pieces of that. Same thing with like time. So we don't say 1 time, 2 time, or something like that. Well, in separate situations. We talk about time in units, like minutes, hours, days, years. Those things are countable. Time as a concept is not countable. So this is a key difference, uncountable nouns and countable nouns for today. Okie dokie. That is the introduction for today's lesson. I don't see any questions from you. So I'm going to take one short break, and then we're going to get into the main part of today's lesson, the main focus. So one quick break, and then we'll continue on. So I showed you a couple of these things earlier in today's lesson. I showed you a couple of these earlier. These are the free PDFs, vocabulary and phrase, expressions, and so on. You can find these from below the video if you are watching on YouTube, or above the video if you are watching on Facebook. There are different topics that you can download. This one for pets. This one is about like dog and cat breeds, so you can talk about your pet. This one is the travel one, some expressions if you're going to be traveling sometime soon. This says USA, but you can use these in any English-speaking country, really. So check this one out. Others, food and restaurants, a very popular topic with you usually. So you can check these out. You can download these for free from the link below the video if you're watching on YouTube, above the video if you're watching on Facebook, if you're watching on Instagram. please check YouTube or Facebook. Okie dokie. Okay, some questions. I don't see questions. Bori on Facebook says, is salad an uncountable noun? No, we can count salads. 1 salad, 2 salad, 3 salads. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, let's continue to part 2 of today's lesson. We're going to talk in part 2 about small amounts here. So if you're just joining, today's topic is expressing amounts, and we're going to cover phrases, expressions you can use now to talk about small amounts and large amounts. Some review, some new things in here, I hope. So as you join, please don't forget to like and share the video if you haven't already. All right, onward, small amounts. Let us discuss small amounts. So when you want to talk about not a lot of something, I'm going to cover a couple of expressions for countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Please note, this is not everything that we use. This is just an introduction, I think, to some very common expressions. First, let's talk about countable nouns, expressions you can use with countable nouns. First, a few, and few. So I want to talk about these first. Let's look at some example sentences. A few and few are very similar, but there's a key difference in terms of nuance. There's a small feeling difference here. So, a few. For example, the company bought a few laptops. The company bought a few laptops. So, a few refers to a small amount. You may know like a couple or a couple of, I'm going to talk about here, which is usually like 2. Imagine like people, like a couple refers to 2 people. A few, in my mind, is like 3, 4, so more than a couple. But for here, the company bought a few laptops. This has like a neutral feel. It's like a report, yeah? The company bought a few laptops. This sentence, however, uses few. The company bought few laptops. The company bought few laptops. So the difference here is just the article, yeah? So a few versus few. The difference here is that this sentence with no article has the feeling of a negative result. It has the feeling that like someone is disappointed or unhappy, or this is not a good thing. Like the company bought few laptops. We needed a lot. So it's kind of like using no article here gives that like unhappy feeling. If you want to just make a simple report, use a few. So please make sure to consider this when you are choosing between a few and few with your countable nouns. The same thing is true with an uncountable noun expression. I will talk about later. Okay, let's continue to the next one. So I just described a couple. So when you use a couple, think of a couple as like 2 of something. So a couple of, you may hear as well. Some people drop of, like I need a couple chairs or I need a couple of chairs. You can use both of those things actually. It's kind of up to you. So a couple of something usually refers to like 2 of something. Third, a handful of. So a handful. So this, maybe you can guess the meaning of this word if we break this down. Hand and full, yeah? So hand, literally, actually meaning a hand. Full, the spelling is different, but it means like something to fill up your hand. So a handful of something, you can imagine how much you can pick up. A handful means like not a large amount of something, but not quite just a couple or a few. A handful, so maybe like 5 or 6 of something. So a handful of. Again, some people drop this of in speech. Like I picked up a handful of cookies in the kitchen. So you can choose to include this or not. I would include a handful. I would use of in that sentence. Like I need a handful of something. So this is countable noun related expressions. I'm going to continue to this part in just a second. first I want to go to uncountable. Uncountable. Many of you are asking about like a lot and stuff. I'm going to talk about large amounts in just a minute. That's part 3 for today. Other questions I don't see yet. Okay, so let's talk now about uncountable expressions. As I discussed, or as I mentioned, with a few and few for countable nouns, we have this same feeling with a little and little for uncountable nouns. Did I just say countable nouns? Okay. We need to consider the same like negative feeling with a little and little here. So, again, an example sentence. We have a little time. We have a little time. This part right here, again, I'm using the article a little time. We have a little time. In this second one, though, we have little time. There's no article. So again, this sentence, we have little time, sounds more negative. It's like it's a bad thing. We have little time, like, but we need more. This sentence, we have a little time, sounds like a neutral report. So please keep this in mind. This is not true in every situation, but in many cases, this is the feeling you communicate by including or omitting the All right. Other examples. What about a little bit? Yes, you can use a little bit. I have a tiny bit of, which is, another option you can use. I chose tiny because I thought you might not know. Tiny means very, 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 very small. Tiny. So, and a bit is like another word for piece. A tiny bit of. You can absolutely use a little bit of as well. So a little bit of time. I have a little bit of money, and so on. Yes, you can use those, absolutely. I don't see other questions, so onward. I've included here then too a small counter word of. So counter word, if you remember at the beginning of this lesson, I explained that we use counter words like dollars or minutes or hours to talk about units inside uncountable nouns. So you can use sometimes a counter word to talk about part of an uncountable noun. So for example, like a small piece of something or a small bit of something. So you can use some counter words to describe small like units inside an uncountable noun. Okay, so this is the first part here. I want to go kind of to part 2.5 then, and then we'll take one more break. I want to talk about this red box here, some and any. I have some and any in this space because we use some and any with both countable and uncountable nouns. That means we can use them with both. It doesn't matter whether the noun, which type of noun it is. So let's talk about some first. Some we use in positive statements. So like, I have some markers, for example, or I have some time. We can use it with countable and uncountable nouns. We also use some in requests and in offers. So a request, for example, is like, will you please give me some of something? Like, will you please give me some money? So we can use it to make a request, and we can also use it to make an offer. So like, would you like something? Like, would you like some cake, for example? That's an offer. We use some in these cases. So positive statements, requests, and offers. Any, on the other hand, is used in negative statements, meaning I don't have any of something, or we don't need any of something. Again, we can use this with countable or uncountable nouns. We also use any in information questions. So that means that we're not making a request and we're not making an offer with any. We're asking for information. For example, do we need any something? Or do you want any something? So these are the key differences between some and any, but we can use them for both countable and uncountable nouns. Alrighty. Okay, I don't see any questions, but if you want to know more about these, I have a video on the English Class 101 YouTube channel that talks about these topics. Actually, all of this is covered on the channel. So we'll take one more break, and then we'll go to the last part of today's lesson. I will show you a few more things I have not shown you yet. So, in case you missed it, last time I showed you a few of these. These are all free PDFs that you can get from below the link if you are watching on YouTube, or above the link if you are watching on Facebook. If you're watching on Instagram, please check YouTube or Facebook. These are free PDFs you can download, print out, keep on your phone to practice vocabulary and expressions. Ooh, you've zoomed in. Hello. So I'll put them here. So this is another one. I don't think I showed this earlier about cooking. There's some expressions you can use in your kitchen on the back. This one is a really good one, maybe for everybody who participates in our online chats. This is the Talking Online one, and a conversation guide on the back too. Some useful vocabulary words here. For those of you who are interested in music, yes, this says singing, I know, but on the back, it's actually expressions to talk about music. It's hard to see here, I know, but you can check these and choose which ones you want to download. You can find the link above or below the video, depending on where you are watching. Okie dokie. S. Lania K says couple of for both and more. Do you mean for both countable and uncountable nouns? We use a couple of for countable nouns. We don't use it for uncountable nouns. So I can't say like a couple of money. I can't say that. I hope that's your question. Okay. Edgard has a good example sentence. Alicia is showing us some PDFs. Yes, some. Some is correct there. So some is kind of vague. Like some, there's not a specific amount with some. It's just kind of a vaguely small amount. Not a lot, not a little. It's just some. Where is the paper download link? On Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, look at the link above this video on the main feed. Or if you have the video big, it should be above the chat. So please have a look. Alrighty, let's go to the last part. The last part of today's video is about large amounts. So we talked about small amounts. Let's cover large amounts then. And again, countable on top, uncountable at the bottom. This big box, however, I've put here to mean you can use these for both countable and uncountable nouns. So if you get stuck, if you don't know which one to use, you can choose one of these. All right, let's talk about countable nouns first. A large number of something. A large number of countable nouns. Like, she has a large number of pets. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what a large number of pets would be. Like more than 6? I don't know. I guess it depends on the person. Anyway, a large number of countable nouns. So don't forget your S sound at the end of this word. Many students forget that. Another one you can use is several. So this one, like, it sounds like 7. I know, the beginning of this, 7. It doesn't mean 7 exactly, but it means more than a couple or a few, more than some. It's kind of, again, another vague word. Like, to me, it sounds like more than some. But if it's helpful to you, you can think of it as like 7 or 8 of something. So if it doesn't mean exactly 7, but it might be helpful for you to remember it as like 7-ish or more of something. Next is a huge number of. So this is more than a large number of. Huge means very, 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 very big. So huge. So a huge number of. Huge is larger than large. Huge is larger than big. So all of these, it's like a scale. So it's like large, maybe big. Large and big are about the same. Huge. And then like gigantic. These are on the same level, kind of. So you can choose the adjective you want to use here to just like more specifically describe the number of something. But this is a key point. Number. For countable nouns. We'll talk about amount for uncountable nouns down here. So let's take a look now at these in the box that we can use to talk about both countable and uncountable nouns. These are great if you get stuck. We can use a lot of and lots of for both countable and uncountable nouns. I know many of you do this. We can also use a ton of, So again, a ton refers to a very, very large number of something, a very large amount of something. So I could say like, oh my gosh, a ton of people are watching on Facebook. Oh my gosh, there's like 2,500 people watching on Facebook. That's crazy. So a ton means a lot of something. We could say a bunch of or bunches of. A bunch. If it's helpful, again, another image you can think of, a bunch is a word that we use when we talk about like flowers sometimes. So if you imagine you gather a group, a bouquet of flowers, we could call that a bunch of flowers. You can kind of use that as an image then too. I have a bunch of something. So it's not like you're overflowing with like the thing you're talking about, but you have a good number. So a bunch of or bunches of. You might hear that too. So bunches becomes plural here. And the last one that you can use for both is plenty of. Okay, let's go to this last point here then. So uncountable noun related expressions. If your noun is uncountable, like time, you can say a large amount of, as I talked about here, or a huge amount of, again. You can use, as I said, some other adjectives in these places too, in these positions in the sentence, I mean. So this, again, as I said, when you're talking about uncountable nouns, use amount. So I can't say like a large number of time. That's incorrect. Number is used with countable nouns. Number is used with countable nouns. Amount is used with uncountable nouns. So I cannot say a large amount of markers, for example. So please use number with countable nouns. Plenty of time, yes. Marlene says, what about the expression an awful lot? Yeah. You can use an awful lot with both. I'll put that here. So an awful lot. So it's like saying a lot again. But we use an awful lot when maybe like there's some kind of surprise about the number or about the amount. So yeah, we have an awful lot of extra time. It's like, maybe something bad happened or maybe something negative happened. We're kind of surprised at this situation. Could I pronounce plenty again, please? So I said plenty very clearly. In everyday speech, we say plenty. It sounds like P-L-E-N-N-Y, plenty. So I have plenty of time. Other examples. I'm looking for your examples. I don't see any more on YouTube. On Facebook, everybody's saying hello. Someone writes lots of love. Yes, that is a very common expression. Lots of love, like to end a message to someone with the expression lots of love. Can I say, like, I have tons of problems? Yes, you can. Problem is a countable noun, so you can use all of these to describe that. I have tons of problems, or I have so many problems right now. So I've just used a very casual one. So many. I have so many problems right now. That's not a good thing. But on the other hand, you would use much with an uncountable noun. Like, I have so much time right now. So that's another point. When you're talking about countable and uncountable nouns, make sure many is used with countable nouns, much is used with uncountable nouns. Okay. Other example sentences. Someone says there are plenty of flowers in the garden. Yes, indeed. Hugo says, can I say I have tons of friends? Yes, you can. Congratulations, Hugo, with your tons of friends. Okay. Aladdin on YouTube says, I got tons of questions to ask. So not gotta. Gotta means got to or have to. I've got is okay. Or I have tons of questions to ask is also okay. Elton says, I need. So not it's need, or you could say you need or I need a lot of time to learn a foreign language. Is it possible to use the word to, says Omar. Can you give me an example? It's kind of an open question. What do you mean? Please share an example. Gyro says, what about saying several problems? I have several problems. Grammatically correct, yes. Grammatically correct. But I would say in that case, like, you're probably in a specific situation, like in a meeting, like you're reviewing a proposal or something, like looking at something, a document. You're like, I have several problems with this. So that means I have a group of problems with this. So yes, grammatically correct. Totally fine. What about the expression whole lot? Like, I have a whole lot of things to do today. Yeah, whole lot. That's from Mateus on YouTube. A whole lot of things. A whole lot of things to do today. Yeah, we can use that. I feel like we use that with countable nouns more. Like in your example, a whole lot of things to do today. We can use it with like uncountable nouns as well. I have a whole lot of time as well. That's fine. A whole lot. Okay. Oh, I guess I have to stop. Look at me. I'm going to try not being late today. Okay. Someone says, I have so much problems. Is it correct? No, I have so many problems. So if you're not sure, ask yourself, is my noun, problem, countable or uncountable? If it's countable, many. I have so many problems. If it's uncountable, much. I don't have much time, or I have so much money. Okay. Now all these questions are coming. I didn't get the difference between a lot, and a bunch. These are all the same. Thank you very much for the super chat. These are all, we can use these all the same. That's the point here. Tons of sounds like more than a lot of, and a bunch of is kind of like a group of something. So you can watch this video back as well. So I hope that helps you. There are so many questions coming now. Why are all the questions coming now? Why didn't you send these questions to me earlier? Next week, send me your questions earlier. I have to finish. So I'll end today's lesson there. Thank you, as always, for joining us this week. Next week, I'm going to talk about emotions, describing feelings. So it's going to be a lot of like adjectives, emotion-related adjectives to talk about what you're feeling. So please join us again next week. That will be February 13th, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is New York City time. Please check your local time on Google or set a notification on YouTube or Facebook so that you can get notified when we begin. So I'll end there. Don't forget to get your free stuff from the link below or above the video. And thank you very much for liking and sharing the video. We really, really appreciate it. So I hope that was helpful. You can watch this video again and check the English Class 101 YouTube channel for more videos about all of these topics. I will finish there. So thank you very much. Enjoy your week. Have a nice weekend, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.